The date is set, and the Oklahoma Sooners are in position to go after the five-star defensive lineman Williams Nwaneri. And we have heard you guys talk about it so much. Y'all freak out about it on Twitter because this might be one of the biggest recruitments for the University of Oklahoma that we've had in a long, long time. And with all of the news around conference realignment and everything else, everybody's focused on these five stars and exactly where they're going to land. And it's something we got to talk about, something we got to dive into, because Williams Nwaneri is definitely the talk of the town. And honestly, as of late, seems like he has become more of a talk than the five-star defensive lineman David Stone. And we also got to talk about a crystal ball that was placed in favor of the specific five-star defensive lineman that Oklahoma is also in the running for. So, guys, before we dive into it, before we talk about it, go ahead and hit that like, hit the subscribe button, jump down in the comments below and let me know what y'all's thoughts are. Don't comment about the room, guys. I get it. I've moved. It don't look great. The background's not there. Listen, it's just going to be for a couple months. All you guys got to do is live for a couple months with a bed in the background and a couple dogs, and we'll be just fine. But we're going to start off with Williams Nwaneri because that's the hot news of the week, because Williams Nwaneri has now announced his commitment date of August 14th at 7 p.m. via Hayes Fawcett on Twitter. And a lot of Oklahoma fans over the past week have really just, I guess, started acting like the world's on fire because, well, Mizzou, I guess, is trying to drop a bag. And people are worried we might lose a recruit to Missouri. And at the end of the day, I'm not really worried about it if it's Missouri that you're having to go up against. And yes, I get it. Oklahoma lost the five-star wide receiver to Luther Burden to Missouri. But, I mean, come on, that dude was flirting with Missouri and everybody else during his recruitment anyways after he was committed to Oklahoma. But if you lose Williams Nwaneri to the University of Missouri, it's going to suck. It's going to sting. You probably will have David Hicks and Williams Nwaneri flashbacks and PTSD. But if you land a David Stone and a Dominic McKinley, you feel like you're still on a good track heading into the SEC in 2024. Now, personally, here's what I think. I think if you land a David Stone and a Williams Nwaneri in this class, just those two guys, it completely changes the trajectory of the way that this defense is going to progress over the next couple of years. In fact, it's going to probably expedite that process, and it makes 2025 a little bit easier on Todd Bates because maybe you don't have to go out there and land a five-star in 2025. You can land a couple solid, good top 100 2024 or 2025 defensive line recruits instead of just, sorry guys, having a little bit of time talking, instead of just going after the five-star guys that are just up at the top, that in reality Oklahoma is always going to be in an uphill battle climbing for, especially if they're out of Savannah, Georgia, and places like that. And so in reality, I think if you're Todd Bates, you're Miguel Chavis, you're going all in. You're going all in on these two guys, and you're not losing them. You're not losing David Stone because of money. You're not losing Williams Nwaneri because of money. And it really seems and hears like the NIL backing for Oklahoma is kind of saying the same thing. When it comes to a dollar figure, we're not losing. And like I said, in 2025, where, yeah, you want to land an Elijah Griffin or Armando Blount, but if you land these guys, you can go out there and you can focus on an Xavier Uponu, a Landon Rinks, or somebody like that. Get a couple good, solid, maybe top 150, four-star guys, add them to this defensive line, and then in 2026, start that process over again of going all in for a top-tier defensive lineman. And I say, you don't have to go on a top-tier defensive lineman in 2025. You still have CJ Nixon, who is a borderline five-star in this 2025 class, out of Weatherford, Oklahoma, that Miguel Chavis can go out there and grab. So, yeah, I mean, Oklahoma could still get a five-star, but it's just not necessarily as big of a need. Now, today, a crystal ball was placed in favor of Texas for Dominic McKinley. And if you're Oklahoma fans, you might be asking yourself, Texas? Why Texas? And, honestly, this has been a really hard recruitment to follow. And I think I've talked to Dominic McKinley once, and I didn't get a good sense at all what he was thinking. Now, that was earlier on in the process, but You hear Hank South, a Texas insider guy, placing this crystal ball in favor of Texas, and you go, well, this is primarily, everybody thinks, been an OU Texas battle. So is Texas starting to edge ahead in this recruitment? And you say, not really. I don't feel like they are. I feel like Oklahoma is still the leader here. Oklahoma, from what I understand, has had the best pitch when it comes to some of their off-field things that they do in the program, like the Soul Mission and things like that. And so when you look at Dominic McKinley, although you talk to a lot of insiders, you watch their videos, you listen to them, whatever, Steve Wiltfong, Whip Around, whatever, they'll tell you all day long, it's an LSU guy, he's from Louisiana, you would imagine he's going to LSU. But then you hear of how well Oklahoma and Texas have positioned themselves, and you go, but wait, could they potentially land the 5-star defensive lineman? And only time's going to tell, because Dominic McKinley wanted to have this recruitment wrapped up. Really, well, he wasn't going to wrap it up. He was going to let it drag on until after the Under Armour All-American game. But now it seems like this commitment date might be moving up. There's been a lot of rumors running around there. If you're Oklahoma and you have a chance to land 3 5-star defensive linemen in this class, which is a possibility, you're looking really good. You're looking mighty fine. And I really like where the Oklahoma Sooners have positioned themselves to land 3 5-star defensive linemen in this class. And then I know some of you guys are going to jump down the comments and say, David Hicks PTSD. Don't have that PTSD. Because guess what? We already have a Jaden Jackson. You just got a Bergen Kaisar, who I've told you guys multiple times is going to be a stud. And you got him as a PWO. And then you've got Nigel Smith coming in September. Oklahoma is going to be fine. The defensive line recruiting for Oklahoma is going to be great. And then in 2025, you've already got Kamori Moore. Like I said, you could go after an Xavier Ukponu. You could go after a Landon Rink or somebody like that. Oklahoma, going into the SEC in 2024, they're on, I think, pace to be a dominant defensive team and bring that dominant defensive football back to Oklahoma, I think, like a lot of Oklahoma fans have expected. And not to mention, in 2025, you have all of these in-state prospects like Alex Schildknight, who, with all due respect, probably should be a Sooner. And I haven't really gone through the 2025 recruits with you guys, even though I probably should, because we're starting to pop off so many of them that I probably need to go ahead and get those predictions out there. But a guy like Alexander Schildknight, Jaden Wood, CJ Nixon, then you've got Ethan Utley out of Nashville, Tennessee, Xavier Ukponu, Kamori Moore. Those could be all guys you see in this class. Yeah, they're all 4 stars and 3 stars right now. But the Oklahoma Sooners are trending well, and they're trending up, regardless how you look at it. So, guys, I want to hear from you. I want to hear what your thoughts are about Williams Nwaneri. Do you think the Sooners can ultimately land him? I still think the Oklahoma Sooners can land Williams Nwaneri. And I know a lot of other people around the, I think, college football landscape expect Williams Nwaneri to be a Sooner. But with Missouri trailing behind, it definitely might cause people some concern. And like you said, some of that PTSD as well. So go ahead and hit that like, hit the subscribe button, jump down in the comments below, and let me know what y'all's thoughts are.